everybody! During the summer of 2024, me and my family got up to all kinds of shenanigans. In June, we went to Jasper National Park. During our visit, we stayed at the Mayette Mountain Cabins. There was even a cute little cabin out front that was just the right size for me. Mommy and Daddy took my picture there, but told me it wasn't safe for doggies to stay there by themselves because of all the wild animals that live in the park. Daddy was told we had arrived a little too soon and that our cabin wasn't ready for us yet. So he drove us up a windy road to Mayette Hot Springs. We kept seeing snakes on road signs, but luckily we didn't see any real snakes. I was surprised there was a traffic light in the middle of the mountains. Mommy told me it was because part of the road eroded into the gorge, so there was only one lane for vehicles to drive on. We made our way to Mayette Hot Springs and parked the car by a bunch of mountain goats. From there we walked along a wooden path that ran along a stream. Quit fooling around, Mommy! Come on! Eventually, we arrived at the ruins of the old hot spring pools. We had to stop many times because there were so many interesting smells for me to enjoy. While we were resting, Daddy told me he used to go swimming at the old hot springs when he was a little boy. I can't believe Daddy was ever little. When we got to the source of the hot springs, Mommy had Daddy put his hand in the water coming out of the mountain. And then held me up so I could put my paws in the water as well. I was surprised. It was so hot. When we got back to our cabin, it was ready for us. It was very spacious. In the evenings, we relaxed around a fire in front of our cabin. We had fun hiking around Jasper and took some beautiful pictures at Pyramid Lake. The water was as smooth as glass when we were there. We visited the town of Jasper to do some shopping. And Mommy left her Ryan Shukasaurus on the Jasper sign to help spread the word of Ryan Shuka, a young man who went missing in the mountains. Daddy stopped the car for all kinds of wild animals when we were driving around Jasper National Park. I didn't like the big dog with the curly ears that kept staring at me. Mommy said it was a mountain sheep. I think his name was Dodge or Ram. He must have been famous because I saw his picture on many pick-me-up trucks as we were driving around. We also saw lots of elk and mountain goats. One day, when Mommy and Daddy were coming back from soaking in the hot water at Mayette Hot Springs, they saw a mother bear and two cute little cubs. Mommy and Daddy were sure glad they were safely in their car this time. While we were in Jasper, Grandma got sick, and my big brother Sawyer had to call call an ambulance to take her to the hospital. Grandma got out of the hospital in time for Mummy's birthday. Not long after that, Mummy, my big brother Sawyer, Grandpa, and I drove to Manitoba. We stopped at Auntie Frances and Uncle Terry's house. After dinner, their sons came over, and guess what? One of them had a cute, friendly puppy named Chewy. Chewy was a cheeky fellow and kept jumping on me. Mummy had trouble taking our picture because Chewy wouldn't stop jumping about. He was just a blur in all her photos. We went no further that night and had a sleepover. I was so happy to get a break from traveling. We got to Winnipeg the next day and arrived at the home of Auntie Char, Uncle D, David, and Cousin Bob. After saying hello and visiting for a while, I checked to make sure Bob's froggy was gone. It was, so I played with Bob's monkey for a while.
Bandit, be careful with my monkey, you young scallywag.
Cousin Bob and I like getting pets from Grandpa. That feels so good, Grandpa. We also enjoyed getting belly rubs from Mummy and David.
Yes, Bandit, they are rather wonderful.
We went to Auntie Marilyn's and Uncle Fred's for a steak barbecue with their family. When it started raining, we headed for the garage. When we went to leave, there was a glorious rainbow in the sky. The next morning, the humans went out for breakfast with Uncle Leonard, Auntie Leah, Uncle Clarence, and Susan. That afternoon, we drove out to St. Malo and brought flowers to Mamere and Papa's graves. Then we were invited to Uncle Ben and Aunt Lorna's house for Jasmine's birthday dinner. There were lots of relatives there, but I had only eyes for Addie. Oh, you're so adorable, Addie. The next day, we had to head back to Alberta.
Farewell for now, Bandit. I plan to come visit you and your family in Alberta in the very near future. Ta-ta!
A July-long weekend for me and my family on the move again. After collecting Grandpa, they headed to Ponoka to attend the Ponoka Stampede. I was left in charge of Grandpa's house while they went to the rodeo. They told me it was grand fun.
Yes, Bandit, it sure was fun. The Ponoka Stampede is a combination rodeo and fair that runs in the last week of June each year. Among the attractions was a midway with cool rides and yummy food to eat. Before attending the rodeo, we all crossed the street to inspect a trade fair with lots of lovely things to buy. I even found an African knick-knack and calendar to bring home, much to Mummy's exasperation. We took our seats in the grandstand that had a roof that kept the sun off of everyone so they could enjoy all the rodeo events in comfort. We attended the afternoon session on the last day of the rodeo and saw all the rodeo events except chuck wagon racing, which takes place in the evening. We saw the bucking broncos,
Edmonton, we live wide open.
Next up was calf roping.
Game changer, contributing for Dash to the finals mode. Watch this guy. He does this every day somewhere, and it's looking good. Round and a half hits.
Followed by lady steer riding.
Everybody wearing three shoes.
It was time for the halftime show. They brought out a fancy car with horns on it. All of a sudden, they started taking the horns off, and I wondered why. I soon found out when a young girl on horseback jumped the car. There was a fellow named the One-Armed Bandit who had 2 horses and a zebra. And they all went up on the roof of his horse trailer. The time had come for ladies barrel riding. Finally, there was bull riding.
We say thank you to Big Smart Commodities. Their sponsors. Here's Big Hats. Looking good.
With that, our day at the Ponoka Stampede had come to an end. We dropped off Grandpa and picked up Bandit and headed home to Edmonton.
Now who could that be? Why, it's Cousin Bob in Winnipeg! Hello, Bob!
Greetings, Bandit. Me and my family have left Winnipeg and are on our way to your location in Edmonton. We are presently in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, where we plan to spend the night. See that all is in preparation for our arrival tomorrow. There's a good fellow.
Bob and family were on the way a day earlier than expected. So Mommy and Daddy had to rush to get the final touches to the house done for the arrival of the company. But they got it ready in time. While Mommy and Daddy worked, I kept a lookout at the window to keep an eye out for Cousin Bob and family. Is that them? Is that them? Oh, I hope it's them! At last they were here! There was David. Here's Unky D. Cousin Bob, welcome, Cousin Bob, welcome.
Hello, Bandit. We are so glad to finally arrive at your home.
And of course, here's Auntie Char as well. I couldn't believe my eyes. Cousin Bob was actually in our house.
I told you that I would see you before you knew it. Quite adequate, Bandit. I'm glad to finally see where you live.
That evening, the humans enjoyed a Ukrainian supper. Afterwards, Daddy served us a tray of leftover lazy cabbage rolls.
Bandit, these lazy cabbage rolls are divine.
While Cousin Bob and his family were visiting, the weather kept getting hotter and hotter. Mommy called it a heat wave. Auntie Char and Unky D said it was unbearable. They bought us a fan to help us try to stay cool. In addition to the spiffy new fan, the window air conditioner in the bedroom where Auntie Char and Unky D stayed ran at full blast, and Mommy and Daddy set up a jerry-rig air conditioner in the front doorway. All this combined made it just barely livable in the house.
Don't you have central air conditioning, Bandit? These conditions remind one of his battles in the African desert.
During her visit, Auntie Char didn't feel well, but she still managed to pay many visits to Grandma, got her hair done, and even did a little bit of shopping. But combined with the terrible heat, it was a rough time for her. Poor Auntie Char Char. Poor David had to rough it on the floor of the living room, but at least we shared our family blanket with him. Of the 3 human visitors, David participated in the most activities. Daddy took David for a haircut by Kelly the Barber at the Linwood Barber Shop. Kelly shortened David's hair by a good 6 inches. We all thought David looked very handsome with his much shorter hair. Later that day, Sawyer took David rock climbing. The next morning, David's hands were so sore he could barely open his water bottle. Later on, Daddy and Uncle D joined them, and they all went bowling. Even though his hand hurt from rock climbing, David was the top scorer in the match. Daddy even took David shooting at the Wild West shooting range at West Edmonton Mall. Along with everything else he did, David even paid a visit to Grandma, much to her delight. During the visit, I celebrated my gotcha birthday. Mommy and Daddy think I'm 7 years old now.
Happy birthday to you.
Bandit!
Happy birthday, dear Bandit. Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
Happy birthday, Bandit, you young rascal. Enjoy your youth while you can.
The next day, Bob and his family packed up and left. Mommy said they went to Grandpa's house and brought some flowers to the grave of Mommy's little brother Corey and my older brother Scott. Then they made the long, hot journey back to Winnipeg. Cousin Bob will be 15 years old very soon, which is very, very old for a dog. So this was most likely his last trip to Alberta. I'll miss Cousin Bob and my extended family, but I sure enjoyed our family summer shenanigans. Until next time, everyone keep safe and well.